So, I want to talk about some things that I've noticed with high value women, and I don't want to get too far into it. So, I'm just going to talk about like 3 points or three concepts. Sorry if you guys can hear. They're like doing lawn care outside my house. So, the first thing I notice is that they're more private, meaning they don't overshare everything, and there's still a good balance of openness and being private, but they're not sharing the struggles they're having with their partner or intimate relationships. They're not sharing all of their plans open at once. It's more like you'll see it when it happens. And I know we all see those quotes all the time where you don't want to speak about it too soon. At really high value people, high value women have that down pat, the ones that I've noticed in my life. What makes it more impactful is seeing the opposite, someone who's extremely open, sharing everything, and it's just not as valued, things that are overly accessible and not as it's just a highlight to me that you're not that relationship or whatever you're so open about isn't as valued, and sometimes that can extend to the value we perceive that person having. I mean, although I believe everyone is infinitely valuable and we all have inherent value, but the way we present ourselves and share information about ourselves and our life definitely speaks a message. Number two is that they're exclusive, and they're mindful of who they allow in their circle. And I noticed this one is intentional but also intuitive, because they're, as women, it's more of an internal trusting that we have and kind of vibe that we're checking for, and they don't ignore those signals. They don't hesitate to remove themselves from places and people if they're not in alignment with their values. And I was thinking deeper about this because the famous quote, you're the sum of the five people you are most surrounded by. And it goes hand in hand with the concept of the crabs in the bucket. So it works in the inverse as well. Like sometimes when you're doing really well, or you start doing really well, people want to pull you back down in the bucket, because out of fear or jealousy, whatever it is. And then sometimes if you're it's the opposite. If you're working at if everyone is doing really well in your circle and you're the low hanging fruit, you're the one that's not doing as well, then a lot of times those people will want to remove that person that's not on the level as the group. So there's always a balance that's being sought after, and that's like scientifically but also energetically. And I notice with high value people it's especially true because it's so imperative to be surrounded by people, like-minded people, and people who you want to be like, or people who are similar to you at least, but definitely not people who are negative or pulling you down. So I noticed that high value people, they really have that exclusivity factor, which can sound controversial, but it's actually a survival mechanism if you're looking at, depending on the lens you're looking at it as, or looking at it through, I should say. The third point I wanted to touch on is that they're kind of selfish, which sounds a bit harsh, but put themselves first and they put their partners first. A lot of the women that I'm talking about, and I find that to be pretty interesting but understandable. I believe there is a balance to this because we want to be humble, we want to be helpful to people. As a Christian, I know that I want to be a servant too, but I know that there is a balance that needs to be had with that. We don't want to overextend. I'm still exploring that concept. I don't know how much I agree with that, but it is something that I notice with really high value women, that they're they're not ashamed of their boundaries and they're kind, but they're definitely not gonna self-sacrifice for others, especially if they're capable of doing things themselves. They're not like someone that's struggling in need of help. I mean, I think that's kind of like where I would draw the line. If someone's really in need and needs help, or whether that's needing me to be there for them emotionally or socially because they've lost something or they're going through a really hard time, that's where I feel no kind of like pressure or no resistance to stepping in and helping someone. I'm not sure if other women feel the same, but definitely if someone's on the same level and they're nothing outlandish is happening, that's when I feel like that is a more prominent attribute, that the selfishness is coming more into play. It is really just putting yourself first, putting your family first, your partner, and not sacrificing for others. Knowing where you want to put your energy, having your values, the things that you prioritize, and knowing what's most important to you is at the core of being a high value person. Just being intentional of how you spend your energy and knowing you can't pour from an empty cup. Filling yourself up first, not sacrificing yourself, not being around negative people, being intentional, very aware of how you feel around certain people in different spaces, and letting that play out unabashedly and making those or setting those boundaries where they're needed. I feel like I'm kind of just feeling this out as I'm speaking because I'm thinking about these women that I know, people I've seen over the years, including how I've developed myself. Hope this helps, and let me know what you think. Oh yeah, and I use this background image because it's represents like self-care and taking care of yourself and like freedom, abundance in a way to me. So that's why I used it. Self-care is definitely the foundation of being a high value person. It's taking really good care of yourself. It's how you really build your value, is like pouring into yourself first before you give to others. And yeah,